Okay, Jessica, let's go now. The train's here.
How long will it take to get to Grandpa's?
It's going to take about 4 hours, so we should go now.
All aboard! I hope that it makes people realize that the good old days maybe weren't always the good old days, especially if there's no air conditioning on those cars in the middle of the summer. But that's what it was like. That's realism.
Trees are going to hit you.
Americans, I think, are fascinated with the largest of anything. And so the Big Boy, being the largest steam locomotive in the world, is a fascinating piece of machinery for most of our visitors. It's 132 feet long. It weighs more than 1 million pounds. It was designed for speeds in excess of 80 miles an hour, and it can develop in excess of 6,000 horsepower. All of those are just stupendous figures to most of us. To just stand there and look at that massive piece of machinery and imagine it moving down the tracks at 80 miles an hour is just awe-inspiring, I think. The Aerotrain grew out of a desire by the railroads in the early 1950s to come up with a new type of passenger train that could compete with the automobiles and the airlines that were taking so much business away from the railroads. The General Motors Corporation was asked to construct 2 experimental trains that could be demonstrators to the railroad to demonstrate this new technology. So they developed a high-speed, lightweight passenger train, very futuristic looking, so that it would not only be technologically innovative, but also eye-catching, bring people's attention back to the railroads. We talked about the Big Boy, and it's the largest, and that's an attraction, the Aerotrain, because of its looks. But there is a aura associated with historic things, whether it's a battlefield or a historic house, or in this case, these 2 cars. And there really is a sense of something there. And I think that attracts people, and that makes people understand more about themselves and about how America got to be where it is today.
My interest is also from a photographic standpoint. Steam engines, even when they're rusty, in fact probably even more so when they're rusty, they have a certain charisma that comes out with a photograph. A lot of texture and patterns and eroded lettering.
My grandfather was an engineer, my Uncle Ted was, my Uncle Gordon was. It's kind of a step back in time, family-wise for me and my family.
The museum's philosophy is that the railroad had such a broad effect and a broad impact on American culture that almost any historical theme that you develop, you can develop around the railroad, whether it's architecture or dining car china or social history through labor unions or improving working conditions, safety, economic history. You can talk about just about all aspects of American life through the railroad.
Mama, we're here. There's Grandpa.
Nice quick ride. Yeah, let's put you right there. Okay. Let's take a little walk.